Okay folks, hey, welcome back. So today on the channel we are going to be painting Khador Red, or at least a Khador warjack. I believe this is the Great Bear, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going with the shield and the big mace looking aspect for it. So first thing I'm going to do is, for ease of painting, I'm going to be using an airbrush. I know not everybody has an airbrush, but this is actually a really good way to practice with an airbrush. There's a lot of really good cheap ones that you can get on eBay or Amazon, like the Masters brand, that for a very low cost you can get started. Now the one that I'm using is called the Iwata Eclipse, and I actually have a lot of use for this one. I like using this one quite a bit, and I also have a secondary one. This is my backup. This is a Badger 105 Patriot. I also get this like on Amazon as well, and both of these airbrushes are my kind of my bread and butter for airbrushing and working. So let's get started. So the first color that I'm going to be using actually is Umber from P3. Now this is a P3 paint, so it's got the liquid pigment in it. Boom. And I actually really like this color as a base color for the red because it helps build up a base for whatever it is that you are working on. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Iwata airbrush that we have right here, and I'm going to get my brush. Now this is just kind of a beat up brush, but it just has a nice head on it so that I can get a lot of good paint on here. I'm going to get some. Sorry guys, I'm trying to work around not only my microphone but also my light. You don't need much, especially for just doing a single model like this. I want to say like 3 drops of paint is pretty good. And as for thinning it, you don't want to use straight water. I like to use this Vallejo airbrush thinner. And I'm just going to put a couple little drops in here. And we're just going to mix this up. Just like that. Now, if you notice, I have an X mark here. This is to help me keep my camera in focus, so don't have to, pay any mind to it. But you can see I have some white from a previous paint job I was doing. So this actually will help us. There you go. I don't know if you can see it, but you see that nice brown coming through. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our model, and I'm just going to be focusing on the armor panels. Let me go ahead and move my light real quick. There we go. Now because this color is kind of dark, you're probably not going to see a whole lot of it. I can see that it's kind of a nice dark brown coming through. And I really want to focus just on the areas that are going to end up being red. And remember, when you're painting models like these, especially with an airbrush, you don't want to go super thick with one coat. It's actually better to do multiple thin coats and just kind of build up that color. So as you can see, this brown is actually really building up really nicely. It's flowing super well. Okay, for the next color that we're going to be working with, now that we got this red all situated, this brown situated, we're going to be moving on to our reds. And for the first color, I'm going to be using Proractal's Burnt Red. Now this is very much akin to, I would say, like a corn red from GW, Citadel Paints. Give it a good shake. And what's great about these paints is you can pretty much go straight into the airbrush with them, and you probably only need literally one drop of thinner, because the paints are already pretty much pre-thinned. That just 2 drops is enough to really get it to like airbrush quality. So again, we're going to start off, and we're going to start going. The brown is acting as my shadow for this. So that's what you can see if you look closely. We have the red on top, and then leaving in the shadows, you can still see that brown if you look closely. And that's something that we really want to capitalize on, because that's what's going to give us the most contrast. As you can see, I'm just dumping out my excess amount of paint that I have back into the bottle, because I don't need this color anymore. And then I'm going to use this Createx Colors airbrush cleaner. It's just pretty much like a distilled water. Fill this up. Start getting going. I usually like to put the tip of my finger and then slightly press down, and that's going to create it like a backflow for the colors. I also use one of these. Here, I'm going to get this out of the way here real quick. And you pretty much can set your airbrush on here, and you just let yourself spray into it. And what this does is it gives you a reservoir to clean your airbrush with. Sometimes I don't like to wait, so I'll literally just dump it in there, just like that. Okay, so as you can see, I got it all out. Now I'm going to just take a little bit of just some paper towel, and I'm just going to lightly just kind of wipe down the inside. That's just to help get the excess paint, like so. Okay, now we're going to get to the real fun, and that is we are going to be using Liquitex Acrylic Ink Payroll Red. And this doesn't need to be worn down or diluted or anything like that. Literally straight from the pot. And what's great about this too is this top is actually a dipper. You can see how vibrant that red is. It's going to really translate onto the model. So we're just going to put this off to the side because we're not going to be using this entire amount. Also, if you are using an airbrush for the first time, you want to try to keep your PSI about 20 to 25. Right around there seems to be kind of like the sweet spot. So let's get started on this. Now, I don't know if you noticed that, but a lot came out real quickly. So with inks, they're very thin, and they are very well, like I said, yeah, they're very thin, so a lot can come out at once, and it's best to do multiple thin coats with this because the pigment in this is very bright. So you almost want to like feather with your finger very lightly onto the model. So really, when it comes to these inks, see, I don't know if you can see it, but we can still see that original brown in the cracks and crevices, and that's going to really help sell this red. You really just let the ink do the work for you. Like I said, because the inks are really thin, you're going to want to do multiple coats. I mean, it dries super fast, so you go back over that spot and you just kind of really build up that coat. Now that we got that first ink done, now we're going to start on doing the highlights. And this may seem kind of crazy, but bear with me because at the end turns out looking really, really good. We're going to go with a bold titanium white from Pro Aqua. We're just going to put just a small little amount. You don't need a lot. We literally like 2 small drops in there. We're going to make sure that we thin it down with a drop or 2. Mix this all up. If it's not a perfect, it's going to come out looking like a little pink, whatever, that's okay. Okay, so with this, if you're gonna do this technique, really focus on your push and pull technique, and you want to be really, really soft with this. All right, you might actually want to practice on your surface area, making small little lines, just to kind of see where the sweet spot is, just like that. I don't know if you can see that. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the upper areas where light would hit. Now you may see what we call like spackling. It's when you are spraying and you see like little, I want to call them like little snowflakes or something like that. Like they're not, it's not an even coat coming out. You know, you want to clean up like that. You want to make sure that it's nice and smooth as it's coming out. Alright, let me clean my airbrush. As you can see, this is what I've done. It doesn't look great, I know, but after our next step, it's just going to really make it pop, and it's really cool looking. Now let me go ahead and clean this, and I'll be right back. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and re-secure that, and we're going to go on to our next ink, and that is Liquitex acrylic ink Vivid Red Orange. Again, like we were doing before. What is that? Ugh. There's a slight orange tinge to it. There's still that red, but there's like it's just a little bit of a combination. So we're going to test this out. Perfect. Now we're just going to go back over all the areas that were white, building up that layer. There we go. I don't know if you can see it really on the camera here, but you can see how that red really starts popping. Okay. In actuality, what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called a blend. So we're going to take that original red that we had before, and we're just going to try to introduce just a little bit more of that color back in, just in certain spots. Just here, like between the brown and the orange, we're going to kind of go right there in the middle. Okay, and there we go. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to wait for this to fully dry, and then I'm going to paint the arms off camera and get them to match up, and then I'll meet you back here when I'm finished. Okay, so we're back. Now from this point on, I'm going to be doing this all by paintbrush, and I'm not going to be working with airbrush anymore. So I tried to edit out some of the sound, like when the airbrush was popping on, so my apologies if you still were able to hear it, or very briefly. It can be a little noisy, so that's kind of like one of the drawbacks. But, so moving on, now what we're going to do is we're going to be focusing on black. We're going to black out the areas that are going to be prominent on this model. And as always, I will be using AK Interactive Black 11029. This is by far some of the best black. It's perfect, like opaque color. Just gonna get just a little bit onto my wet palette. If you guys are interested, I can teach you guys how to make your own wet palette at home. It's actually pretty easy. Okay, so starting off, I'm just going to dot down a drop of paint onto the areas that we're going to end up painting black. So we're going to put one right there. We're going to put some onto this little band that's going across right here. We're also going to do the tops of these like that. And I'm going to do these as well. I find that doing that, like these little dots, will help me remember later on, like, oh, hey, that's right, I'm doing these parts need to be black. Okay, so moving on, let's go ahead and start with the smallest area. I like to just drag the paint out around all the corners first. This will help you with your fine motor function to make sure that you are staying neat. I like to color in all the edges first, making sure I literally get the actual edge here. Now if you notice, I'm using my pinky to steady my hand as my other hand is on the counter, or I should say on my table, and this is giving me a nice steady foundation, so that way I can neatly, essentially freehand these colors onto the model. You always want like 3 points of contact. I know there are some of you out there that have trouble keeping a steady hand, so this may be something that you can try if your hands shake. And the other part that a lot of people don't focus on, that they really should, is your breathing. Breathing is such a huge thing. Now, coming from my job and also from being in the military, I have to use firearms quite a bit. And one of the things that you learn when you're shooting is your breath control. And I like to incorporate a lot of that when it comes to my painting, or I should say vice versa, when I'm shooting, targets and things like that, is practicing my breath control. And there's something called the natural respiratory pause. When you breathe in and then you breathe out, you give yourself, I want to say, like 2 to 3 seconds that you're essentially holding your breath, and that is actually the most still that your body is going to be. Now once you go past that, you will start depriving your brain of oxygen, and that's where you actually will start shaking, your vision might start going. So obviously if you're getting to that point, you're going too long, so you want to breathe out and try it again. And I like to try to just kind of focus on that as I'm painting. And it helps me keep a very steady hand. And it's almost like a method of like meditation. Now, if you notice, I kind of messed up right here. I painted underneath that part. That's okay. Since it's black and it's in the shadows, nobody's going to be seeing it. So we're just going to chalk that up to a happy little mistake. And we're just going to keep chugging along. For the glory of Khador. Moving along. All right. Just like that. All right. Now that I got this done, I'm going to cut out, and I will be back when I got the rest of it finished. Okay, so now that we're back, that took a hot minute to do, but I think it turns out looking really good. So we got the arms all done, or at least up to speed, and as you can see, I got all the black put in there. And you can see how matte that black is. There's no shine to it, which is really nice, which offsets with the red perfectly in my opinion. So the next color that we're going to be working with is Proactyl Bronze. This is actually a really good color, and I really like it a lot. So I'm going to get this onto the palette. Look how rich that is. That is, oh, looks awesome. And much like that we did with the last, we're going to go through here and we're just going to mark out the areas that are going to be bronze. So the exhaust stacks are going to be bronze. I'm going to put this little crown as well. The knee pads. I'm also going to paint these little, I don't know what these are. Just like this. Boom. Let's move it to the side here. Get this part inside of this. Match it on the other side. Get the ones on the back here. Okay. And then I'm also going to get each of these little, not sure what you would call these, like servos, gears, swivel, shoot. The name is escaping me, but it's like it's just a joint, you know, part for it to move with. Rotor. Boom. That was, yeah, rotor. We'll go with that. And then also the feet. I'm going to do the feet in this color as well. Okay. And yeah. I'm going to do that, the same thing on this, only I'm going to paint the shield here. And I'm also going to paint these little parts. Boom, boom, boom. Get these. Also get these spikes right there, as well as this spike on this part of the shoulder and the back part as well on that one. And then for this, same thing, we'll get each of these little spikes. Get the base of this, the mace right here. Back part of this. That spike. Okay. So I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to get these done and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done with it. Alright, 1 second. That is a really nice strong bronze color. going all around the model, as well as onto the shield here, on these spikes. I missed one. Okay, let's go ahead and just grab that real quick. See, even I, who have been painting for many years, I still make mistakes and I miss parts that I need to paint. So it's always good to make sure you go over a model with fresh eyes. And take breaks. That's another one. Don't have to paint the entire model in one sitting. Alrighty, there we go. Okay, so you get this on there. Boom, boom. Oh, that is looking magnificent. I'm liking that a lot. Alright, so the next color that we're going to be going with is one of my favorites, and that is Pearl Dark Silver. This is really nice dark gunmetal metal, essentially. And if you put like a transparent black wash over it, it really comes into like a almost like a black steel kind of look to it, which is pretty neat. It's pretty nice. So let's go ahead and start on this, and I'm pretty much just focusing on the under chassis here, just getting these little mechanical parts. This is actually kind of a thin paint, so if you water it down, or if you put like a little bit of water in there, it may make it almost too thin. So this is like one of those few paints that it's okay to paint, or at least use it straight from the bottle, I should say. So let's go ahead and bring this up a bit. Actually, I'm gonna color in this area. Now I should have probably did this color first and then the bronze around these areas, but what the heck. I too like to live dangerously. There we go. And we'll do the same for the other side. Cool. So I'm going to do the same thing, but for the arms, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we are back, and now that we are finished with the metallics under the arms, like so, and on the body underneath, we're going to do some washes now. And the first one that I'm going to do is Agrax Earthshade. Now this is a very nice strong brown color. This is going on the red, but let me preface this before you take the wash and just throw it over the entire model. We're not going to be doing that. This is going to be almost like what we call a pin wash. We're going to be very focused and very delicate on where we put this wash. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get a little bit of this. I'm using my smallish brush here, and I'm literally just going to touch the rivets with this. Like, you're almost not going to be able to see. I'm going to bring it up here just so you can see what I'm doing here. Now this can be very tedious. There you go. but I just want to shade these rivets. And you're gonna let what's called the capillary reaction happen, where you just barely press and the liquid essentially takes over and will fall into the little cracks or the crevice of the rivet. Like that. I'm just going to go over the entire model, doing this in the vents here. Sorry, let me, I have to keep remembering to have it pointing straight up so that way you guys can see what I'm seeing. Just like this. You can also, if you're feeling really brave, touch the cracks here. And just let that wash flow. Now, there is an easy way of doing this. You can use what's called a gloss varnish over the entire model and do this. That will help break up the surface tension on the model and will allow your wash essentially to I don't want to say drain, but like flow into the cracks and crevices a lot easier. Or if you have a steady hand, you can do it this way. So I'm gonna catch that little rivet there. Happy little rivets. I always aspire to be like Bob Ross, painting miniatures. This is a happy little orc. Or I should say, in this case, a happy little warjack. Now, you can also use this wash in, like, let's say, the little cracks and crevices, the little crevice here. You don't need a lot. You literally just need just a tiny bit to flow in there, and when it dries, it will really kind of darken that area and give you the shadow that you're looking for. Okay, let's get this in there as well. Oh. Helps if you actually get some wash on your brush when you're doing this. And if you mess up and you get a little bit on the panel or something like that, you can just wet your brush and you can just literally pick it right back up. If you're quick enough. I'm sure you see me like dotting my thumb here. I'm just getting the excess wash off, and I can also keep it as like a little pool right there. So if I am applying it to the model and I can tell that I'm running out, I can just touch my thumb there, just get a little bit. Okay, there we go. Now we can see it, but you can see how that wash is starting to darken those little rivets. I'm also going to go over all of the bronze with this wash as well, and that's going to darken it up, kind of make it a little bit more dirty. It's going to make the shine a little bit more of a matte, so it's not going to be so shiny. If you want it to stay looking clean and shiny, you can like skip this step for all the bronze, but we're going to be highlighting the bronze anyways with light bronze. It's going to really kind of make it pop, make it look really nice. Okay, there we go. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So let's get the back here real quick. Get these back ones. Okay, and we'll get this back part. Don't worry about the inside of the vents. We're going to be doing some effects on that later. catch the inside of this down here. Make sure we get the wash on the feet, because that's really going to be the part that gets dirty down here. You can also put this on the metal as well if you wish. This will just make the metal look a little bit more dirty and greasy. If that is your prerogative, you can do that. And we're going to be going back over these rivets with a highlight color just to kind of like catch the rivet, just to make them pop. And that'll be on the highlighting stage, which will be coming up here pretty soon. Also, if you guys want to see painting, like a painting stream where it's like more of a long form, like I'm streaming, just let me know in the comments down below, and maybe I can actually set something up to where we can do like a paint and chat kind of thing, and then I can stream it to YouTube, and yeah, you guys can come say hi, hang out, and all that good stuff. So I'm typically off on Wednesday and Thursday nights, so it'll probably be one of those nights that I'm streaming. And yeah, that'd be pretty fun. Alright, I'm actually going to catch these ones on here as well, because this is such a huge area. I'm not going to go over the entirety of it. I will catch these though. Alrighty, cool. I'm gonna let this dry, and when I come back, we'll be working on the next step. Okay. Okay, for the next wash, we're going to be using transparent black. You can also use Games Workshop Nuln Oil, works just as well. Give this a quick little shake. Now I'm going to dilute this just a tiny bit. Oh. There we go. Now the diluting is going to be what we call Lamin medium. And this is just going to make it a little bit more translucent without sacrificing the opaqueness from the wash. And I'm just going to carefully put this only on the metallic silver parts. It goes on strong, but it dries like clear. It just tints the metal. It's a wash. So comes out looking pretty nice. I have a lot more video planned, not just lore but also painting videos. I've been picking up a lot of Mark III and Mark II models from Troll Bloods, as well as Signar, like gun mages, trencher models. I want to do an entire Mark III trencher army because I really like those, like, you know, infantry heavy style armies. Maybe it's just because I'm a Imperial Guard Astra Militarum player that it just kind of speaks to me. I like those kind of armies, you know, the grunts on the ground kind of thing. Alright, so we got that all set up there, and we're going to move on to these parts. Like I said, it doesn't need to be like super like accurate on where you're putting the wash. I just try to get it on the metallic part. Just let it flow. Let it go. Sorry. That'll be the first and only time I sing. Okay, there we go. Actually, probably won't be the last time I sing. I'm always singing. Didn't say I sing very well, but it is what it is. Okay, see how I got a little bit right there? I don't know if you can see it, but I just wet my brush and come back and just kind of sweep it right back up. Boom! No harm, no foul. Okay, so that's looking pretty nifty. We'll get that in there. We'll get a little bit more of this wash, and we'll put this just in here. And right up in here as well. Get the back side. Okay, perfect. Alright, we'll get that on there as well, and we can let this guy dry a bit. Look how awesome that looks! Oh, that's so cool! Okay, once that dries, we'll be moving on to the final, I want to say 2 steps. Alright, I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, so for this next part, we're going to be starting on highlights. Now, for this particular one, I'm going to make my own highlight. And I'm just going to start with using black with a little bit of dark gray blue. With a touch of faded ultramarine. Perfect. Oh, that's exactly what I want right there. Okay, so let me see if I can get this on the camera for you. You see that? It's almost like a dark gray blue. That's what I'm looking for right there. Okay, so I'm going to take my highlighting brush here. Very, very fine tip. This is an Army Painter small detail brush. The arms off of this. Now I'm going to show you on the big model, but then I'll be off camera doing up the arms, and yeah. So I'm just going to get some paint on the tip of my brush, and I'm literally just only going to go on the edges like this. Just like that. It doesn't have to go over every single edge, but you just want to catch the most prominent edges, because you just want to give the illusion of light reflecting off of the edges. And that's really all painting is when it comes down to these models, is you're trying to sell the illusion of light reflecting off models. I'm going to go into the next highlight, and that is Proactyl Orange. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get some orange on my palette here. Nice. Now it's really starting to rock. Okay, cool. Next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on the base, because I'm going to kind of fast forward towards the end because the video is starting to get kind of long here. Okay, I'm going to use dark gray blue. Get a little bit of water in there, and I'm going to start painting the inside of my base. I'm going to teach you guys how to make a base that looks like this with that snow. Look how realistic that snow looks. It's going to look super, super awesome. Oh no. Just accidentally touched the orange with my brush. Good thing I saw that before I put it on the base. So you want to still be kind of careful when you're painting, especially painting around the feet, that you don't get any of the paint on there. We're still going to paint the rim black afterwards, just to help clean it up, because there is some overspray from like the browns and the reds from the beginning still on there, so we'll clean that up. Just like this. There we go. Okay, we got that first part down. I'm going to cut here, and then when I come back, this will be dry, and I'll have the other parts of the arms and all that stuff up to speed, and we'll move on. Okay, so we are back. It took a hot minute to dry, but we are good to go. So next we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a dry brush, like this brush right here, and we're going to be using Faded Ultramarine. You don't need a lot. You literally just need just a tiny bit for what I'm going to be doing. It's going to take a little bit onto this brush. I'm actually going to wipe most of it off like this, and I'm literally just going to drag lightly, real lightly, going to drag it across the base like this. We just want to catch the edges of the sand, like so. Got some on the foot there, get that off the foot. There you go, just take your time. Like I said, you just barely want any paint on the brush, because if you have too much and you go too hard, you're going to have just a massive streak going across your base. Okay. And the reason why I did this is I wanted a nice cool base, you know, like almost like a frozen tundra looking type. There we go. Okay, now for the next part, we're going to take a little bit of super glue and some grass tufts. And I'm just going to put probably like, I want to say maybe like 3 tufts down. Alright, got the super glue on there. I'm going to take my tweezers. And these pop right off, just like this. And I'm just going to lightly set it right on top. and they stick perfectly on there. Alright, now I'm going to teach you guys how to make snow. So first things first is you're going to want to use so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. That's actually quite a bit, but that's okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some bold titanium white and I'm going to pour some of this in there as well. The reason I do this is because my next ingredient, if you use literally just glue and baking soda, down the line, like I'm talking like maybe a year or two down the line, the baking soda will start to turn yellow from oxidization. So by putting the white paint in there, it coats all of the baking soda and keeps it white. Okay, I got the fun stuff right here. It's baking soda. It's not anything illicit. Say about 50-50 mixture is pretty good. You do want quite a bit compared to the glue and the paint. This does make quite a bit, and I'm just gonna mix this all up now. And it's gonna get clumpy, and you want it to clump like this. See how it's boom? You want it to look like that. Clumpier the better. Just keep mixing it, making sure you get the glue and the paint, all that good stuff. You can even put in a tiny bit of water in there. I'm talking like real small, just to help kind of like loosen it up a little bit. You want it to look like a paste, like this white paste. Once it dries, you don't see like any like paint. You don't see any of the glue, nothing like that. Literally, you just see the texture of the snow, and it just looks awesome. So I'm just literally going to take this and I'm just going to dab it onto the base. It's okay to get a little bit onto the grass because snow likes to stick to grass as well. Just like that. I like to put it in patches. I don't like to cover the entire base because I think that's just a little overkill for my taste. But if that's what you want, if you want to do like a complete like snow base, this makes a great basing for that. So there we go. I just put it on there like that. Touch the top of this. Boom. And we are set. Now I do want to go over a couple things that I did off camera. All I really did was I just touched each one of the rivets with dark silver, and yeah, that was mainly it. So this is our completed warjack. So you got the snow, you got the tufts. Boom. Check that beauty out. That is awesome looking. Cool, guys. I again want to thank you all for staying with me and helping me out with the channel. Here's his brother, so I got both of these guys painted up in the same scheme. I know the arm is the wrong arm. It goes on this side. I didn't realize that I was painting up, so I haven't gotten around to the other arms yet. But yeah, these guys, rough and tumble, look pretty awesome in my book. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see painted up next. I have a bunch. I have the entire the Khador starter army set. I have the Signar starting army set. I have the Brine Blood Marauder set. I haven't done the unboxing yet, but that will be coming up next. I also have a bunch of Mark III, Mark II Signar. I have almost the entire line of Troll Bloods. I'm talking like 300 points, including Mountain Kings, Glacier King, all of the trolls as well. I can do painting tutorials on those as well if you guys want to see that. I can show you guys how to make terrain, all sorts of good stuff. So again, let me know what you want to see. Alright guys? Alright, till next time, this is the Arc Node. I'm out.